Grant Fisher may have just had one of the best weeks in track and field history, breaking the indoor records for the 3K and the 5K. But what is it that makes Grant Fisher so good? Someone like Grant is going to have some natural talent, but there are a lot of guys out there with natural talent. So what sets Grant apart? What is the X factor? The first thing that jumps out to me is how he played soccer from a young age all the way through high school at a fairly high level, even while he was running competitively. I've touched on the subject before in my last video. The idea is that a wider athletic foundation provides for the ability to move better and more efficiently, which supplements aerobic training really well. And Grant's aerobic training is some of the best around. His coach right now, Mike Scannell, who was also his coach in high school, is a big proponent of getting a high volume of good quality aerobic running in. In his interview after Grant's 5K, Coach Scannell talks about how they do a lot of workouts that are in the 5 to 6 out of 10 effort level range. This says they do 30 minutes total in the morning, 20 minutes total in the afternoon. And this is really similar to the Norwegian double threshold style training. Backing slightly off of what true lactate threshold is and splitting up 20 to 30 minutes worth of work into shorter intervals of like 5 to 6 minutes. And this way that the training is designed allows them to hit this kind of volume of work twice a day, multiple times per week. So like an example of that might be in the morning, 5 to 6 times, like 1 mile to 2K with like a minute rest in between. And then afternoon, something like 10 by 2 minutes with like 45 seconds in between, or like 16 times 400 with 30 seconds in between. Maybe a little bit faster in the afternoon because it's so much shorter than in the morning. And also, like the Norwegians, Coach Scannell does blood lactate testing during the workouts between intervals to make sure that the intensity isn't getting too high. And maybe Grant Fisher could hit like 20 to 30 minute like tempo threshold type runs, but the volume of those he could do in a week would probably be less than if has them split up and has them at a slightly lower intensity. So less risk of getting burnt out, less risk of getting injured. And the thing with intervals also is like between intervals is a time to do that lactate testing, where you can't really do that if it's just a continuous run where you kind of set the effort and just hope that someone's not going over that threshold. So with Grant Fisher and Coach Mike Scannell, the emphasis is on just building that aerobic engine as big and as powerful as it can be. The big, crazy hard workouts are more of a rarity. If you watched the track all access video recently with him and Grant Fisher doing the workout, they even say in the video, like, this is a rare workout. We never do this. It was more of just a tune-up to get ready for like racing that was going to be coming up. And this training isn't unique to Grant Fisher. There's a lot of guys out there who are like aerobic monsters, but something else that sets Grant Fisher apart is his like racing strategy and mentality. I've gotten to talk to Coach Scannell before, and he says one of the things that sets Grant apart is his discipline and his ability to stick to a race plan. The race plans that they make together are big on like getting him to a good position and settling in and kind of just getting the brain turned off, letting the legs do the work and not getting the mind all stressed out. But there's a point in the race that is predetermined where like he's going to wake up and he's going to go no matter what. And that moment where you wake up and come alive and finish the race out, that takes a lot of focus, that takes a lot of mental energy. That's several minutes of this intense focus. So Grant is able to save that mental energy for that point in the race where it's more important. You don't want to be stressing yourself out and like frying your brain, like getting overstimulated like in the very beginning of a race. And this ability to like shut his brain off and relax and kind of recharge his batteries a little bit is a great help. It's a great asset. So we saw it in the Olympic trials 5K last summer, where like 250 to go, Abdi Nur gets out in front of him a little bit. And Coach Scannell is saying that even though Abdi had only gotten in front for like 15 seconds or so, that was kind of a break for Grant where he didn't have to lead, just was able to back off mentally just ever so slightly to be able to kick hard with 120 to go. So in the Millrose Games 3K, when we saw Cole Hawker take the lead from him and lead for several laps, that was like a huge break. I believe that that is what made the difference in Grant being able to outkick the Olympic 1500 gold medalist the way that he did. And so knowing all this, that's what makes his 5K record even more impressive. The pacers helped for the first half of the race, but for the second half of the race, those last dozen laps or so, he was basically on his own, just having to focus, put all his energy out, and really just dig in. But the way he was able to hold on and close the way he did just shows how disciplined and mentally strong he is. And we can't all be Grant Fisher, but we can learn from him. Some of the ideas and principles that make him so great are things that you can apply, no matter what level you're at, no matter how talented or not that you are. Have the discipline to do the work that you need to do. Have the discipline to not have a big ego and overdo your workouts and fry yourself just to look good on Strava, and be disciplined enough to stick to your race plan the best that you can. And it's been about 10 years since Grant Fisher was the big high school phenom versus where he is today. So greatness can take some time to develop. And while you may not be an Olympic medalist someday, you can put your head down, do the work that you need to do, be consistent, and over time, great things can come out of it.